Get a job. Get a job.
Hey UBC Poli Sci, this is your podcast editor. Thank you for watching. Throughout the podcast, guests are going to be shouting out various resources, and I put all the links in the description box below, so please check that out. Enjoy the episode.
Hey, are you tired of your parents asking what you're going to do if you're not going to be a lawyer? Well, welcome to our third episode, Outstanding Outreach Opportunities, where today we're going to be mentally breaking down alternatives to the poly law pipeline. In other words, if you're not going to law school and you have no clue what to do with your degree, keep watching or listening. Amazing. So my name is Grace. I am one of your hosts, and you've probably seen me in the previous episodes. Today, I'm joined with 3 guests, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves as well as their major, area of interest, and non-law aspirations. Awesome. Can we get started with the person right next to me?
Yes. Hi. My name is Bree, and I'm co-editor-in-chief of the Journal of Political Studies alongside Noah, and we're super excited to be here.
Yeah. My name's Noah. I'm majoring in political science and history. I like research interests. International development, I think, is the main interest for me. And post-grad, I'm looking to do a dual degree MPP, MGA, and hopefully work kind of like in government, global affairs type of thing afterwards.
Yes. Okay. Before we go to Kaden, Bree, do you want to say what you're majoring in?
Yes, I will say what I'm majoring in. I totally forgot to sort of explain that. I'm also majoring in Poli. My minor is in IR. My area of interest is sort of developmental politics or economics as well. I am interested in international law and sort of what that looks like at grad school level or potentially law school, but more so broad spectrum to explore. Yeah,
amazing. Okay. And we'll move on to our last guest.
Yes, of course. If you guys have seen any of the other 2 episodes, I am a guest on the Mental Breakdown podcast. My name is Kaden, co-president of the Political Science Student Association, here once again, 5th year in political science, hoping to go to law school eventually, but in between that, working in political science and politics a bit more before that. So kind of getting the best of both worlds, in my opinion.
So as mentioned earlier, today we're going to be talking about alternative pathways for political science students who are not interested in law school. And we thought this might be helpful because there are a lot of people who are majoring in Poli Sci or interested in Poli Sci, but they may not be interested in law school, like these people and myself as well. So yeah, that's why we're doing this episode today. And we did prepare a few questions because we thought it might be better if we ask questions. Okay. So to start things off, I want to do a little bit of a career show and tell. So just what you guys have been doing, what you guys have done before, and just how that's kind of impacted your choices. So I would love to hear more about just maybe right now what you're doing and how you kind of got there. So I think if we can start with Noah, if you can just let me know a little bit about your life.
Yeah, my life, sure.
Your life.
Story.
Yeah. I'm interested.
Yeah, so I grew up in Edmonton, Alberta, you know.
Another Albertan.
Yeah.
Not too many of those. I'm Albertan, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, exactly.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, sure. So right now I kind of split my time 3 ways, I think. I'm a research scholar with the Office of Regional and International Community Engagement here at UBC, which is a mouthful. So we just call it ORACE. I also work as a TA for the Department of Political Science. And I'm co-editor-in-chief of the JPS.
Oh my gosh, no. Can you say hi to your students?
Hi, students. Hopefully nobody is watching. Actually, it's in my tutorial. That would be really awkward.
Go to class and it's on the screen.
It would be like, Noah, I watched it.
Oh gosh. Yeah, hopefully not. So yeah, I mean, kind of like being a TA, I guess a little bit about the work commitment, right? So being a TA is pretty self-explanatory, I think. Mostly like grading, running tutorials, you know, I'm sure Kaden has maybe talked about this before. As a research scholar, what I'm mostly working on is I lead a small group of researchers in cataloging Kenyan mental health policies. And what we've done basically is compiled a literature review of social inclusion for persons with psychosocial disabilities and are in the process of mapping that literature review onto Kenyan mental health policy, and seeing kind of like what fits, and then passing those results on to an NGO in Kenya so that they could work on more targeted advocacy for the Kenyan government, basically. And And then as JPS co-EIC, Bree and I mainly do the administrative stuff. So while our editors are like working on the papers, we're the ones who are kind of like running the behind the scenes stuff, which maybe she can talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. So kind of my rundown in a nutshell. Yeah.
And there's just another question actually to ask on to that. Are there any aspects of the work that you're doing that are more engaging or fulfilling? Like what do you get out of this stuff, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I would say with my work with ORISE, like I love that organization. I'll like plug them throughout the night. I swear to God, because they're such an amazing organization. The support that they provide for students who are working on the programs is just like amazing. But the number one thing for me has always been like seeing like a tangible difference, I guess, if that makes sense. Like I've worked in positions before and I've worked with organizations where it like you do the work, but then you don't see the result of it. I feel like with ORISE, like you really see the result, you know, like when we're presenting our work that we've done to these NGOs, like they're like very happy with the work that we've done. Like it actually seems like they can use it, which is so amazing. And then I also find the TA work really fulfilling as well, because, I find it very helpful that, well, you know, when I was a student, when I am a student, but when I was a student in my lower years, there was like a lot of uncertainty around like essays and things like that. So I really think the TA stuff is fun because you get to provide that level of support, you know, like go through how to write an essay, you know, and JPS helps with that, obviously. But like feeling like I'm making a difference in that way is like really awesome, with the work that I'm currently doing.
I agree. I definitely think TAs also make or break like your university experience.
Yeah.
Like luckily I've had like really good TAs, and I'm sure that you're like one of those good TAs. So
Sure,
He's not.
not sure about you, Kate.
The jury's still out, you know.
No, I've heard stuff from people that are in your class, and they're like, I really like Noah. Like he's a really good TA.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't tell.
I
if
know
you're being
people.
serious.
No, I'm being serious. I'm being
Wow.
serious. Like I know
That's
people.
awesome. Oh.
I got my connections.
This is crazy.
That sounded kind of weird. But like, I'm telling you the truth.
Well, I'm glad because the students that are watching.
Yeah, exactly. I
We're all
thought you
I
didn't
want the
want them to
testimony.
I
watch.
sent this to all your students.
Wait, you said you didn't want them to watch though. What is this?
You know, now that you're complimenting me, I can come back on, actually. I can
You're making
reverse
it
what
sound like I
said.
don't compliment you.
Pay attention to this. This is important.
On the mid.
I'm gonna stop talking now.
Yeah.
Like no more about that. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. Well, I haven't experienced that in other ways I have, but definitely about your work about TAs, I think it's really important. Okay, amazing. Thank you, Noah. I think we're gonna move on to someone else. I would like to hear a little bit more. And then I think after all you guys have shared your current work and what you're doing, I kind of want to learn a bit more about how you guys got there, if that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna start with Bree, because you are JPS co
Editor.
EIC. Yeah.
The
I
short.
was gonna
What's
say
the
A,
cool
but I was like, that doesn't make sense.
It's the cool.
Yeah.
It's the cool abbreviation.
Yeah. But Bree, who is our JPS co-EIC, can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now?
Yeah, sure. So right now I'm not going to say it again because you said it before, but I work with Noah on the Journal of Political Studies. And like he said, a lot of it is administrative work. It's cool because we get to like be really intentional about where we put priorities with the journal in terms of like staffing and the types of papers we want to see. So I feel very like privileged and excited to be able to have that level of agency in what we do, which is really fulfilling. But yeah, a lot of administrative work, a lot of emails from like 6 different platforms, super fun. But yeah, that's what I currently work on. I'm also writing a couple pieces for the student newspaper, UBC, if anyone hasn't checked it out, although I'm pretty sure everyone has. Right now, I'm writing this one piece on sort of the institutional visibility issue at UBC with specifically women of color and what that looks like, or how that's manifested into class participation, and sort of the institutional / like social barriers that have prevented that level of participation in classes and further. So that is a lot of research and talking to amazing people, but that takes up my time currently. And I also work at the UBC bookstore. I've been working there since I was a fetus. So if you see me around or picture me around, like please don't. Please come and actually see me. I love when people run up to me and I'm folding clothes or like putting away books. It's super lovely and fun. And yeah, that's currently what I'm doing.
Hey, amazing. In terms of like the UBC, like the UBC and stuff like that, I was just wondering how long does it normally take you to like write something out?
Ooh, that's a really good question. In the past, I've done news clips. So essentially, not news clips, but it's called a news section. So you're basically with another author or writer, in my experience at least, and you're reporting on a school event that's taking place. So that can take up to 2 to 3 days to complete because you want to make sure that your turnaround rate is happening as current as possible. This piece, which is deeply personal to me and very empirically motivated, or like narratively motivated, takes me a little bit longer. So about 2 to 3 weeks is the timeline. But you can always go to their office and talk to them about the different types of pieces that you want to write. This one would be around 1,500 words versus a news report would be a lot shorter, 300, 400 max. But there's a lot of different sections, arts and culture, sports that you can write for, which is a really good opportunity. Yeah.
That's a lot of time commitment, but I guess it's like really fulfilling at the end too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully. No, I'm just kidding.
It's not that fulfilling, I guess.
No. Check it out. It's really fun.
Yay, awesome. Then, if Bree is done, now we're going to move on to Kaden, who we've seen a little too many times on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm a recurring guest.
Exactly.
Here to yap some more about the opportunities and the jobs that I've had at UBC so far. I'm mainly going to talk about 3 that I've been doing over this past year. To build off what Noah was talking about as a teaching assistant, him and I are both undergraduate teaching assistants. It's all in the primarily 100 and some 200 level courses. I believe, Noah, you're doing 260 right now. That's correct. I'm doing 100. I did 100 last term. It's an amazing opportunity that undergrads get in the political science department. And if you're listening to this and as an undergrad in Poli Sci at UBC, thinking about doing it, I would apply. It's every April at the end. The reason why I did it is it is a great working opportunity during school, but it is also, like Noah was saying, very fulfilling. I've worked on course syllabi with professors, if that's something that the professor kind of is trying to make very collaborative, but I've also just really worked on my tutorial sections and made that primarily my own projects. And I mean, we all know the importance of a tutorial. If a bad tutorial is there, if a good tutorial is there, it kind of makes or breaks a lot of your course sometimes. Outside of my teaching assistant role, I'm also a research assistant, working under the Professor of International Relations, Dr. Peter DeVerne. I've been working for him over a year now, since February 2024. I've worked on a few projects that I know we're going to talk a little more about how I get into these spaces and opportunities later. That was a little more of being reached out to for research assistant roles. That's quite common. It's not as like an application process as the teaching assistant one was, but I've worked on through it for a few projects with him, and I'm going to continue to work in that role until August. So it's been one of my longer jobs at UBC. My third and final job that I'm hoping to talk a little bit about and kind of give information on is a student staff member in the AMS for the AMS VP External. So my title and my job there is the Political Research and Student Support Commissioner. I'm bringing it up. It is quite a unique role to staff for an AMS executive. It is very different, or the AMS is obviously very, very different than other political roles and on different like governance levels, like provincially and federally, but the work is very similar. So that's why I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit of what I do. It is similar to staffing a politician in many respects, which has been great, applying my skills from the political science degree that I've been doing. So like research, brief writing, presentations, and like effective communications have been primarily honed for this role. And it is something that the AMS always hires for. They always hire student staff in different capacities. And I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to be in that role from May 2024 until now, until my term ends in April. So those are the 3 jobs that I've been working on this past year, and all kind of related to political science in one way or another.
I mean, you're doing quite a bit, especially because you're doing like 3 different jobs. How would you say that's looking for you, like time and schedule wise?
Oh, it's hard.
It's quite a lot, right?
Yeah. But it's hard. But as I introduced, I'm in my 5th year. So pretty much, I'm taking a lower course load, still a full-time course load, but I'm writing my honors thesis, which is a 6-credit course, 2 semesters, which is 12 credits for the full year. So I've had a lot more time outside of my studies to work. And that's why I've kind of taken on a lot more positions, even paid positions in this instance.
That's pretty amazing. Okay.
Thank you, Grace. That's so nice.
Oh my gosh. Am I being nice today? Yeah.
I didn't
I
need
should
that.
be
much.
nicer on a regular basis.
No, I think you're okay.
Yeah?
That's
Okay.
fine.
I like
Sounds
your
good.
energy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same, please be nice too. Okay. Now that we've heard a little bit about what you guys are doing, I know a lot of people are probably interested in how you guys got there. So I think we would first want to just talk about like what inspired you guys to even like first like join Poli Sci and also just like look towards jobs in Poli Sci. Like why did you guys choose it? Why? Like why did you guys look at this and be like, wait, I want to do this?
It's a great question.
Yeah. I think should we just do a round table again? Like who wants to go first?
I like that.
Sure. I don't mind.
Go first.
Oh,
Amy.
go first.
I'll just
Okay.
find it out.
Yeah, Bree go
Sorry.
first. Bree go first, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Shelby.
Okay. So I actually started off in economics. I started off in the BIE program, so Bachelor of International Economics, and wasn't my thing. I liked the people I was with, and it was a very small cohort, and you had a lot of one-on-one attention, but the subject matter and the content wasn't something that I found was people-centric enough. And I think I bring a more anthropological, or I would like to bring a more anthropological perspective into my studies, and Poli Sci sort of gave me that bridge into, I guess, public policy world, because that's something that I had thought about before. Yeah, so that was a little bit of my journey of why I wanted to go into political studies. You don't know? No?
Yeah, I've kind of always been on the Poli Sci track, I think. Like, in high school, like, you know, they sit you down in that room and they're like, okay, you're going to take your career exam now, which is the most useless thing ever. But I took my career exam and I remember I just got like the most stupid result ever. And I was just like, I don't like this, so I'm going to retake it. And I retook it and I got, foreign service officer. And I was like, what is this? So I was like, you know, searching up, I was like, oh, okay, this sounds cool. You know, this sounds interesting. And that kind of, I was looking at what the track is to do that, and that's Poli Sci, right? The Poli Sci is like the major track for that. So yeah, I knew I wanted to go into Poli Sci. As I like went through UBC, I realized that was more of a IR focus in Poli Sci. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of just why I ended up here. And now I'm graduating and doing, you know, public policy master's degree. So
You know
Well,
what's so
congratulations
funny?
on that.
Sorry, I am literally when you said your high school test, I remembered that my grade 11 superlatives that someone or that the school, I don't know how these are calculated, what superlatives even mean, but they like I know what it means, but I don't know who it was, the principal or the students who did it.
Yeah.
But I got most likely to be prime minister, which I thought was so crazy. And I remember laughing, like I would never get into politics. This is stupid. And now look,
No.
I would vote for you.
over Kaden.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my!
I would.
I thought it was going to be a no-brainer.
I would.
The hesitation.
I wasn't sure if I should say this on camera,
Oh,
but
okay.
this is John.
I would. Maybe not in front of the actual person either. Just kidding. I would vote for you though. Awesome.
Yeah, no, I'd vote for Brie too.
Just like our campaign, and then you fill in the ballot.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, then I have to do this.
I, in grade 11, actually had a political studies class, and I was elected prime minister in that class.
Wow.
Oh!
In my political studies 12 class. But that was more just because I was having a fun time. It wasn't like super serious. I, like Bree, actually didn't go into political science initially. I was at SFU in a different program, not even in the same school, not even in the same faculty. In high school, I thought I was going to be a chemical engineer because I was like, I loved physics, loved math, and I was like, this is exactly what I do. And then I realized I didn't love physics or math. I was okay at it. Like I was good at it. Political science and politics was always something I was interested in, especially growing up in a very like strong political household where they're very active, and like very outspoken about certain politicians and certain viewpoints. So that was kind of where I made that transition. Understood this was something that I wanted to do. I didn't think there was jobs in the political science sphere, and look where we are now. We're all talking about the jobs that we're doing in our last year and where we could be going. So that was kind of my shift from someone who was quite hesitant to be in political science to someone who now kind of embraced it and really tried to excel in it, and then is hoping to work in a job for a certain amount of time until I get into law eventually.
Yeah, that's a really hard shift to go from that sort of a more STEM
Yeah.
related field into a humanities stream.
No, I didn't know how to write in grade 12, pretty much. Like, it was like I obviously could write a paper, but it was very poor. And then
TA.
first year university.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm a TA. There we go. Now I teach people how to write papers.
Imagine if you didn't know. You're like, yeah, I think that's how you write it.
Thesis
You know,
statement,
students,
never heard
good
of it.
enough.
Yeah.
That's really, I went into BIE for math and like econ, and I wanted to do my math degree, and then econ was like the closest thing to that made sense. And my lowest grade was like always in English, and
Wow.
I was not a
Wow.
Yeah, no, same.
Now you're in
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I see. This
Yeah.
wow.
and I write like on my free time. Like, I don't know. I think that's so
Yeah.
silly.
I was almost econ major too. I was really considering between the two. I liked micro and macro. I had SFU when I took them. Chose Poli Sci because, like you said, like more human aspect of it.
Yeah, which is
Gosh.
important.
I'm missing out. I wish I had a major career shift.
No,
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
think
You knew what you were doing. You had it
you
dialed.
figured it out. You
I
didn't.
wish I could be like, yeah, it changed. Yeah, it changed a lot. I evolved this. Yeah.
They're midlife
Well,
crisis.
I'm essentially admitting that you're committing to this like crazy pay decrease, essentially.
Yeah.
Basically taking this massive hit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to inspire
Oh.
the other.
We do what we love.
We do what
It's
we
worth
love.
it.
We're in the arts faculty. We're artists. We do what we love. But yeah,
I wouldn't call
no,
myself an artist.
yeah, I would. I would call you an artist.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's a hard.
I'm
fit.
sorry, Katie, did you just have like an accent? You said thank you. Did you hear it?
No.
Oh,
What?
I thought you were like, thank you. I was like,
Just in Southern?
Yeah,
I wouldn't
no.
call myself an artist.
Yeah, I would. I would call you an artist.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, guys, I need to get that out of me.
You okay, Grace?
Okay, guys, I'm feeling.
You know?
Grace, take a shot? You take a shot?
I did.
Grace is drunk?
The Mental Breakdown Podcast.
Okay. Thank you for telling me about how you guys were interested in poli sci in the beginning. I had a pretty similar experience to Noah, actually. I think, like, I didn't know I wanted a poli sci, but I was, like, very active, like, you know, like, active in, like, political issues and, like, being like, no, this is wrong, this is right, and, like, obviously my own opinion. And so I feel like it's a no-brainer that I went into poli sci, but anyway,
Okay.
I like your guys' different experiences. It also lets other people know that it's fine to, like, switch between what you want to do as long as you end up in something that you think will help you in the future. Unless you decide to go back to grad school for undergrad for a completely different thing. Anyway, moving on. So now that we know why you guys got into poli sci, I do want to know a little bit more about how you guys ended up in these different jobs, or like, yeah, I guess I'm going to say jobs or like positions. So like, what exactly intrigued you and how did you guys find these positions? Because I know a lot of people tend to struggle with finding like job postings or just like understanding where to go to apply for these different positions. So if you can just give like a rundown of how you guys kind of got to where you are. Do you want to maybe just speak
Would
on
you like
that a
to
little
choose
bit?
who goes first?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. You got lucky,
Sorry.
Bree.
It's because I was.
Yeah, I mean, so, I guess on the TA note, you know, Kaden's already talked about it, right? So they have the application period that the part of the post. So, usually, I don't know, do they send you an email about it?
There's an email.
There's an email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
got that email.
There's an email. It's pretty easy to find this. I think like motto for tonight is check your emails and read the ones the department sends you because they send out
Newsletter,
the newsletter.
PSSA newsletter.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
Make sure you're
Yeah.
on there.
Every newsletter, sign up for it. Like
Sign
right
up
now.
for it.
Yeah. But yeah, the most recent one they sent was massive, like super.
Yeah.
I didn't even scroll to the end.
Yeah. Well, no, you were supposed to scroll to the end. That's
Why?
the motto for tonight. We're supposed to.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's tons of like opportunities in there. Anyways, it's self track, right? So TA you apply for, right? Pretty well known. The JPS as well, is just something that usually comes out in the newsletter. That's how I found it, was through that Poly newsletter. We hire editors. Every year we hire in September. And then we open paper submissions in November. And then for ORICE, it's a little more complicated. I've been working with them for a few years. So I started off working in their Scholars in Prison project, which was basically advocating for in-prison scholars around the world. We were like assigned a scholar. So I started off there, and then I worked with Basic Needs, Basic Rights in Kenya on a like placement there. I worked there for 2 months in Nairobi. It was a very, very cool opportunity. And now I've come back as a scholar with them. And it's so funny. I don't remember exactly how I found that opportunity. And I think it might have been in that email thing as well. Wow. So department emails, very important.
The really motto of this entire podcast, check your emails.
Yeah, exactly. But prior to this, I found opportunities through a lot of other ways as well. Actually, before this year, I was very, very insecure about the amount of experience that I had. You know, if we're being honest, if I'm opening up, you know, here, I was really insecure about like the amount of experience I had on my CV, which I think is like something that a lot of people can probably relate to in Poli Sci, especially if you're watching this. And one of the like really, really helpful organizations here that I'm going to shout out is UBC Career Center. Specifically, they have the UBC like careers online that they post, and that has like a collection of like work opportunities at UBC, volunteer opportunities. I've done a bunch of volunteer opportunities through that program. I volunteered with like the BC Wildlife Rescue Association, which was like super cool. Not related to Poly at all, simply a passion project, but actually it was something I included on my CV to get a lot of these Poly roles because I was a volunteer and I was a shift lead for a volunteer team. So it kind of showed that I was able to have those leadership skills. So yeah, they're amazing. And also for like CVs and reference letters, or not reference letters, but cover letters, resumes, they have like on their website, they have not just what you need to include step by step, but they have examples of what you should include from UBC alumni that have gotten positions. Like, and this is just on their website without meeting with them in person. Like they're such an incredible organization. When I was applying to grad school, I brought my CVs, I brought my like things I was applying with to them, and they looked it over, and it was like such an amazing resource that I feel like people kind of sleep on. But yeah, major things for me.
I also think another thing like that I feel like I thought about while listening to you is that you obviously these opportunities you might just be able to find while you're like scrolling, but you also have to like actively seek them out and like actively go towards them in order to actually like achieve these roles. You shouldn't just be like thinking like, oh, like when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? You should be like, no one. You should actually like be looking around and gathering other different experiences that could help.
Yeah. And just like try it out, you know, just like apply. And like when I feel like I saw the like applications for being an editor in that little newsletter for like years. And I was like, this seems interesting. And I just didn't pursue it until like last year. Right.
And now you're EIC.
And now I'm EIC because like that was just such a moment for me. I was like, wow, this is so cool. This is like something I'm so passionate about. And I just like took a shot in the dark basically with that. So yeah, I think those shots in the dark are really important as well.
Yeah. Especially undergrad too, because undergrad's like, I feel like it's like such a safe time to do it as well, because you're still in undergrad, you're still in school, and there's so many different opportunities that you can do when you're in school as opposed to when you're like out in the real world with just like your degree, because then people are more critical.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Undergrad is shots in the dark, and undergrad is mistakes as well, and finding out what you want to do and what you like. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Noah. I think there are some other ways that you might have found your different positions. Do you guys want to touch on that as well? Who wants to go?
Yeah, I can add on what Noah was saying, because the TA thing was obviously very, very similar. Again, even being prepared for the application cycle to come out is a good thing and a good way. If you kind of have that on your radar, you don't even need to wait for the email. You can prepare for that in advance. Speak to an undergraduate TA.
Yeah.
The careers online, I actually did get a job through there with the Move You crew and UBC Recreation. Not Poly related, but I was able to get like a successful application through the careers online program. The Career Center is actually, I haven't been there, but I'm going to go there for interview prep soon, actually.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So good.
Thank you for actually letting me know. I'm learning stuff too. Thanks.
Yeah.
About my other jobs, the AMS one came in an email where they were hiring, and I think it was all UBC students. I saw a position that was kind of related to political research, and I had a little bit of experience in my undergraduate research assistant role, so I applied for that. So that was very in my face as well. But the research assistant was very different because that was where I was reached out to by a professor to do that role. So those ones are a lot harder to get, especially at the undergraduate level. I know in the graduate level, I think research is a little more common. But for me, it was simply going to office hours with different professors, building relationships, showing that I'm keen in the field and kind of like passionate. And some profs, I know for a fact, some profs in the Poly department have research opportunities for undergrads. Some do not. It really depends. You wouldn't ever, I don't think you should ever go into a meeting or a engagement with a class with the intent of that, because that's not going to be a foolproof method, but it is definitely something to keep on your radar, I would say.
I actually have another question. I don't know if you're comfortable with answering this, and we can cut it off if you're not, but you know how you're also in a student-directed seminar?
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how you got to that position as well, and like how people can apply to have because I feel like that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah, the student-directed seminar is a great program. It's with the Center of Community Engaged Learning, CSEL. That's not a job or a paid opportunity, but it is something that I've organized, I guess, technically started organizing over a year ago. I did the application where I was passionate about drug policy and harm reduction as a whole, volunteered that a little bit in the last couple of years of my life, on the side of like some other things. And that's kind of what I've been consistently doing. And I saw that there was no living in Vancouver, living in BC in a toxic drug crisis since 2016. There was no classes that really truly covered the politics of that. I think there's one Poli 101 class that talks a little bit about safe consumption sites and supervised consumption sites, but that was about it. So myself and my co-facilitator, who I met through this harm reduction space, got together, organized a proposal, gave it to CSEL. They do this program where they take a few student-directed seminars every year. And we were able to form an actual course with 15 students in it that are taking it for credit, with a faculty sponsor, but there's no one teaching it. It's fully student-directed, student-facilitated. The syllabus was approved by UBC, was approved by my sponsor, my faculty sponsor, but it is only myself and my co-facilitator in each class, day-to-day, doing the work, and in like doing the seminar. The facilitation and the evaluation is done on a peer-to-peer basis, but also a sponsored basis. So it's not like I can grade my peers, but I do facilitate the seminar for my peers. And that is one that, if you're talking about, obviously you shouldn't do it for resume building, but it will definitely look great on a resume as a project, something that you can tell that you're passionate about, and something that also you've worked for a long time in to get one product that's a one semester in the end, and actually added to the curriculum at UBC. So that was a very cool opportunity too. Thank you for mentioning that, Grace, actually.
I mean, I was not in yours because I couldn't take it because I was in a student directed the year before, but I think it was definitely probably one of the best courses I've ever taken. Like, I've met some of like my really close friends from there. Aw, you're welcome. I've met some of my really close friends from there, but also I just think the overall just like the structure of it felt a bit more, it was like a bit more engaging because you're always doing discussions, you're always doing presentations, and you're learning, like even like the student directors are learning from like the other students as well. So I think it's such a nice like way to also kind of maybe test the waters of whether or not you're interested in pursuing like the specific topic, or like if you're even interested in like doing something like student direction as well.
Yeah. CSEL is a great department at UBC and a great center at UBC. So if you're interested in that program at all, talking to previous facilitators is a great way to go about it, but also just the program there and the workers they have working in the Center for Community Engaged Learning are phenomenal.
Yeah, most of those are 300 levels. So if you guys are going to third or fourth year, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, 300 and 400 level.
Oh,
but you can take it even I have a few second years in mine.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. So I think we did touch on a few of them, but I would also like to hear from you, Bree.
Yeah, sure. I have a couple other like pathways to add on, I think. I think my number one advice, especially if you're in first year, is to join something, even though if you don't know what it's going to look like for you. Like, I started off at the Iona Journal, which is the economics version of what we do. And that was because I was pursuing a different path, but that enabled me to get the experience to be an editor at JPS, and then senior editor, and now EIC. So building your resume, even though it might not be like specifically something that in the field that you're going to do a couple of years down the road, it does sort of show that you're passionate about something and that you put your energy into something relatively academic, but still like a passion side project that you can engage in. UBC Career Center is amazing. That's how I got my job at the bookstore, and I've been there for years now. And I love all of my coworkers and meeting the first years and helping them through picking their textbooks and everything. And that is not something that is related to the Poli Sci discipline, but it's just a fun job that allows me to be on campus and meet people and stay close. UBC jobs are so great. They pay so well. Some of them are not so great, but you have to do your research a little bit. But it's a great way to stay on campus and to be around like your peers and everything and run in between classes. That's my favorite pastime, actually.
They do try to make it easy for
They do try to make it easy
to get some kind of employment part-time,
which is great. And they're very like conscious of our schedules and the fact that they can kind of change weekly based off of exams and stuff. So it's a great little trick.
Work learners too.
Work learners are great. For the newspaper, I would say that was something that was self-initiated. I didn't really see initiated. It was not something that I saw posting for or anything, but you can literally just walk into their office, talk to a editor who's running a specific section of the newspaper, sort of pitch your idea. And they put you into a sort of Discord group chat, and you can sort of read other pitches that have been done and volunteer to work on that paper or work on that article, which is really cool if you struggle with coming up with ideas and you just want a little bit of writing experience. And everyone is also students, and so they understand that you might need a couple extra weeks to finish a paper, or if you want to work with another student, they're really great on like collaborative work there too. The last thing I want to talk about is a little bit of my research grant with the UBC School of Public Policy and Global Affairs that I'll be doing over the summer. That's a little bit of a passion project that I can talk in like more detail later, but it was something that I found on the UBC Arts Opportunities sort of flag in the little menu section on the UBC website. They have a little arts opportunity little tab that you can go through, and it's constantly updating on cool grants that undergraduate students can apply for. This was more a passion project that I sort of developed after doing a global last summer, and I was able to reach out with a prof and sort of create a research project that you get funding for by the government and UBC, which is great on your resume, but also, like Keaton said, it shows that you're passionate about something and that you're able to sort of have that self-interest that is different from your coursework. And so if you have a couple weeks to spend on a grant application that are so tedious and you'll actually want to cry, it's worth it in the end, I think. But yeah, those opportunities can be found on the UBC website.
Yeah. I mean, any experience is good experience, even if it seems like unrelated. Like I'm doing something right now that's like completely unrelated to Poli Sci, but like it'll probably help out in the end. Like I think any experience is good. I did know that you just said that you would talk about your goal. Do you want to talk about that right now? Actually, I think I would like to hear a little bit more about that.
Sure. Go Global. I heard about that. I think again, probably through the newsletter. I want to say, I don't know. It's so good.
It's so good. Shout out Jillian.
Shout out Jillian.
Honestly,
Oh, sorry. We need to take a moment.
the portal to the Canvas page.
The Canvas
Jillian,
portal. Jillian
great job,
Reed,
great
undergraduate academic advisor of Political Science Department. Book a time to speak to her if you can. If you're in your earlier stages of your degree, first and second year, third or fourth, whatever. She's academic advisor, I think, technically, as her title. But really just works in all fields in the department in terms of looking at opportunities with you, grad school help options. And if you're a person that gets overwhelmed by a ton of like online portals and a list of things that you don't know if fits or if it does, you should consider speaking to someone in person. This person is Jillian Reed. That's what I will say.
I've heard mixed experiences with certain academic advisors in the art space and other spaces. I've never heard anyone have a bad experience with any political science advisors. We have Jillian, but there's also now a team behind the political science advising, which is great. I spoke to political science advising before I was even at UBC when I was still in the transfer process, and it was so helpful. So
yeah, that's a really good
the info hub in political science specifically also, which is kind of goes hand in hand with that email, but that is I think a Canvas page is technically what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also a great place to look for opportunities if you're trying to see.
I think you get added, like, if you're in Poli
Do you
Sci.
automatically get added?
I remember getting automatically added.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think I
Well, that's
signed
good.
up for that or anything.
Are you in it or no?
I don't know.
Maybe.
There's so many. The UBC Political Science department page, like online page, has a bunch. Is also very similar to that hub if you can't have access to it for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can talk a little bit about Go Global. In the summer, I went to Guatemala for 3 weeks for a philosophy and Sen's class, it was a bit actually sociology. If I'm going to be honest, it was a prof that moved over from the sociology department, so it was more grounded in that aspect. But it was a 6-credit course, but it was like the 2 courses combined together. We did 4 weeks in Vancouver. We met every day to go over our readings, midterms, etc. And then we did a 3-week sort of travel learn experience in Guatemala, where we were also writing our papers and doing smaller assignments with a team of other really motivated students who wanted to see, I guess, what the colonial powers in current political, I would say it was more based in political state of Guatemala and the sort of ramifications that had for the indigenous population that existed in Mayan culture. So it was a little bit of an academic but also anthropological perspective. There's a lot of caveats that come with these types of experiences, and I think if you talk to a lot of people, there's some limitations. But if you're interested in having an international experience that's very much grounded in academic learning and community-based learning at a lower level, this is a really good chance to get your foot in the door of looking at other opportunities outside of sitting in a law clerk position and doing a 9 to 5. It's just another sort of informational / learn-based or community-based learning that I found quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I actually do want to add on to 2 other things, is that I know in a lot of upper year poly classes, they are a bit more specific on what you're studying. So there's like indigenous courses specifically, or there's like, I know there's like a bunch of like contemporary, like political theory or whatever. And then it's like split off into really different things. In those classes, professors often do announce when there's like certain things that are going on, like certain events or maybe even opportunities that are like related to their specific topic that they're teaching. So I think if you're interested, like you should probably take those courses and possibly even like wait for a prof to announce that. Another thing, I do want to give us a shout out about clubs. A lot of like AMS mandated academic clubs have a lot of opportunities. Obviously, non-academic clubs have opportunities too. I'm at a nonprofit club too, and they give me a lot of opportunities. But if you're looking for specific ones that are like based in your current studies, and obviously clubs like, the PSSA are like really good ways of finding different opportunities. Like I know there's always like stuff going up that are like, there's this like event or opportunity that you can do, and like I've like attended a few of those, and I've like had chances to like connect with like different like professors and like other people that are involved in like policy making. So yeah, shout out to the PSSA. Not
Really?
like I'm in it. Shout out to
you
the
so
PSSA
much.
other than
That's
Kaden.
so nice, Grace.
He's like,
Oh my goodness.
I mean, shout out to JPS as well.
Thank you.
I'm not in it, so I'm not too sure how it goes, but
It's a great time.
I want to say shout out just for appearing on here. Like,
to add on to the clubs part as well, I would say try to follow as many clubs or programs Instagrams. My roommate was a sustainability ambassador program leader last year or 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and she put on this event, and I like came on as a panelist to talk about sort of the issues that were happening internationally with the policies of environmental racism, and having that sort of political background mixed with advocacy work while they were reviewing a film that Evie Lewis directed.
Oh, which film?
I think This Changes Everything.
Okay. Really great.
Yeah, really great. I.M. Campbell. Yeah, she actually starred in that documentary. It was originally her book. But I sat on a panel with him and we answered a bunch of questions for students who were interested in that subject matter. And that has quite literally very little to do with political science, but it was a perspective that I was able to give within like my positionality and experience and my background in policy to the table, which I think was really interesting. And that was just like 2 hours out of my life. And it was something that was posted on their Instagram. And so if you are interested in doing cool little side projects that are primarily volunteer based, you should try to follow as many club pages as you can.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, any experience is good experience. Those are like our two models. Check your emails and any experience is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, another thing I want to say too is that Instagram, low key, like I'm always on social media and I've seen so many opportunities. Like there's a lot of opportunities to like go to Korea and do stuff. And like I couldn't do them this year because I got other things I need to do. But I was like, you see a lot of these like legit things that are happening like on social media because there's like that's the easiest way to like reach our generation now. And our generation is the ones that are like starting to go into the workforce. So social media, and LinkedIn, you know, everyone has LinkedIn.
People love their LinkedIn nowadays.
Yeah. No, I know somebody who's like trying to add everyone that they can just so that they show that like they
500 plus.
Yeah, so that you can see that they have like all these connections.
I get people. I get some ads on LinkedIn where I'm just like, that's so funny.
How did you
even find me?
Mr. Undergrad in biotechnology. Like,
not even at UBC sometimes. I'm like, where? It's so funny.
It's like, I'm always getting emails to they're like, oh, like something's happening on LinkedIn. I was like, I don't like
your profile
my LinkedIn
was viewed. That's actually the next one because I'm like, oh, who wants to look at my profile right now?
my LinkedIn's like very like. Anyway, if you don't want to get caught viewing someone's LinkedIn, be careful.
I got a view from the Deputy Minister of Trade in Singapore.
Oh my god!
What?
What is
Going
Singapore, man?
international.
That's very interesting.
Oh my god!
Yes.
Jordan, Senator, I'm
International. I'd like to preface by saying that I do not have LinkedIn, and I've made it my life purpose to go as far as I possibly can without it.
I do want to shout out LinkedIn though, like specifically not for the posting that everyone does.
This is where we differ.
Yeah, not for the posting that everyone does about like I revolutionized the Nestle stuff, you know. But actually for the groups that it provides, right? I found there's a lot of great groups on LinkedIn, like specifically when I'm interested in jobs with like the federal government, like in Canada. And there's a lot of like informal posting groups where those get shared around, especially for students as well. Like I know there's one I'm a part of. It's like, it's just called like Informal Canada Jobs Group. And there's like a bunch of UBC students that are part of it, but there's a lot of like student jobs that get posted there. I also wanted to shout out, like in relation to this, the like Federal Student Work Experience program that the federal government provides. Sorry?
FSWA?
Is that the abbreviation?
That's the WEP at the end.
I think so. Sorry, go ahead.
FSW. No, I know what you're talking about.
FSWA?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
FSWA.
I've heard great
FSWA.
I heard FSLA. I was like, what is
FSLA.
FSLA?
Federal Student Work Experience.
Yeah, but like signing up for that is another great way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had a whole bunch of points like throughout this entire thing that I didn't say.
Okay. You just want to say it right now? Like I was gonna ask anyway. Like, do you guys have anything else you'd like to let us know? Like
for sure. Like way back when Kaden was talking about profs and Bree also talked about profs. I also wanted to mention just like the benefits of going to office hours for references as well. Like when you're heading to like grad school or you're, applying for whatever you want to do post undergrad degree, building a relationship with those professors is really important. But also go to your TA's office hours. Like I've had students come to my office hours and be like, so Noah, like, what do you actually do? Like outside of TA work, like what is your purpose? And I talk about some of these, who am I? Right. And I talk about some of my like work experiences and I point them to like resources. Right. And I'm, when students come to me, I'm always very happy to say like, oh yeah, well, like here's what I've involved in and here's like the advice I can give you like in that regard. So, I think that's very, very valuable as well.
Please visit Noah, everybody.
I'm going to go to Noah's office hours.
I'm going to go too. I'm in fourth year.
So when are they?
We can hold some joint office hours, actually.
Honestly, we should.
Yeah.
We should coordinate that.
Yeah.
I do office hours by appointment at the moment, but I feel like I should.
At your apartment?
Appointment.
Oh.
Thank you.
I corrected that immediately. I corrected that so.
I was like,
I don't know if that fits into
Oh
that.
my god.
Yeah.
That's
I was
what
like,
my appointment. Westbrook Building is where they use where
Two
offices
three
are. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
I saw the TA office are really nice. Sorry, keep going.
They are?
I would not say that they
I
are.
heard that they
I
were.
haven't-
That's news to me.
I haven't been.
What?
I haven't been.
You haven't been to our
I
offices?
haven't been to the. I have a key.
Do you have office hours?
I do it online always. Yeah,
Whoa.
because they always ask me to do it online
Oh, what if they want
I've
to?
never been.
or after class sometimes because the class is like after tutorial
Okay.
because usually there's not people coming in,
Mhm.
so I do have time after that too.
That's
interesting. I've offered the space before,
Yeah.
but I've never had to go.
See, I've offered online, offered the space, and they're always like in person.
I like
So
it
that's really
really
interesting.
personally,
Huh.
but
Your students don't like
Well,
that in person.
Our space
well,
was,
if it's in person, it's usually after tutorial. Is why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
our space was built in 2008, has not been renovated.
I've been to.
It looks like it was.
I've been to another TA's office there, and it doesn't. It's
Okay.
not the nicest.
No, but it's got like a homey feel to it.
Yeah, it does,
and if
yeah.
you open a window, then it's like the right temperature.
And there's a random stain on the floor right by Noah's desk.
No, we don't talk
and
about
we can't talk about it, but it's peculiarly colored and it makes me apprehensive.
No,
Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm gonna erase that right now.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think someone
to
has a lot to
piggyback
say.
on Noah's point about meeting with profs, I was able to can never not stress this enough, but I was able to really format my research question in my grant based off of work in AI and computer science, which is something that is very different from Poli Sci. There's a lot of overlap a little bit right now with the sort of jurisdiction of managing and regulating AI currently, but even just taking one class with my prof and talking to her after class, I was able to sort of really develop this interest and make this collaborative sort of policy / computer science based and environmental regulation, honestly, based research question and interest, which is extremely niche, but it's very interesting to me. And I think if you are able to sort of break that barrier with your prof outside of academic sort of structure, you're able to explore your interests a little bit more and see where there's opportunities for you to sort of develop your own interests, because poli sci is a very interdisciplinary topic and discourse, and that there's a lot of opportunity for you to take these really key academic understandings of concepts into whatever interests you might have. And I think that's the best part about our department, our discipline anyway.
Awesome.
Not to get sappy on you. Not to get sappy on you. Yeah.
So, is there anything else you guys would like to say, or can I?
No, but at 3 a.m. I'm going to wake up and be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I forgot to.
No, because
Say
I
those.
have some questions that I want to ask you guys.
See?
One more, and then we're gonna go on to something a little bit more exciting. Okay, so just in general, I know that we're probably gonna have a lot of lower level undergrads,
Race, what?
lower level undergrads launch, lower level undergrads.
Highest level.
I don't think of myself as tired than anything else.
Well,
Oh.
it sounds like great.
He does.
Whoa.
Okay,
Oh.
we're not inviting Kaden ever again. I don't want him on here anymore. Not after you use
There's
it.
special.
The GPS podcast I'll be invited on though, I'm sure, right?
No, I'm gonna make sure they don't
Oh.
invite you.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Not
moving on. I'm going to just ask you guys, do you have any advice for these younger students who are probably hopefully looking to get into poli sci, looking to get into kind of what you guys are doing or somewhere within the same vein? Would you guys like to say anything other than what you said about going to office hours and searching these things up, anything else?
Brian, do you want to start us off?
Oh, I just talked last.
Should we have Kaden talk then?
No, it's okay. No. I'm just kidding.
I was being genuine.
Kaden, go, please. Go.
Because they gave
The hurt in your eyes.
Yeah,
no,
it's a little
because
bit.
they just gave us some more additional stuff. So do you want to give us some advice that we didn't talk about yet? Maybe
I mean, you guys have
scheduling.
covered so much.
Use Notion. There's my
Notion.
advice.
Shout out our honors class. Ariana and I don't know if you were using Notion before that. Were you?
I was.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was. I'm a new Notion user. It's been good. That has nothing to do with my career path, at all, but thank you for shouting it out, I guess.
No, being organized is really
Being
important.
organized
Yeah.
is good, but people find their own ways. I GCal it up. If you don't give me a GCal invite, I'm not going to be there. Why forget about the
specific.
I hate
Google Calendar?
I use
You don't
Apple
like it?
Calendar.
I make my own calendar. I draw it out.
Okay, that's really
Okay, that's really
I have
cute.
a confession actually about Google Calendar. Up until 4th year, I was using Canvas, and I put in like I would add a little like a Canvas to do for my assignments. And I'd scroll in Canvas to see when my assignments were, and then
At least all in one place.
right, and it goes day by day. I don't need an hour by hour. I just need day by day to see what my deadlines are.
Can I bring
And,
out mine?
Like
Crazy.
sometimes classes put things there automatically. It's efficient.
Do you want to ask?
But
It's okay.
No, that's cool.
I-
I mess with it. Like, GCal is just for meetings, a lot of different, more than school. I don't have many school things on there in my 5th year.
I did convert.
Yeah.
I met my girlfriend, and she said
She converted me.
she
converted
said you have to change this. You have her. It was
Yeah.
yeah.
You have to be an
changed.
adult.
She changed it.
Oh.
Oh,
I
Sorry.
thought it was like organized.
Bree's just attacking everyone.
Sorry.
today.
No,
I'm here for it though. I'm here for it
I'm
though.
not.
I support you all the time. I'm gonna vote you for prime minister. Exactly.
Wow.
Get involved
Get in the
is
cabinet.
another thing that advice you guys very well, very like accurately kind of describe the importance of that.
Mhm.
It's given me the opportunities to know where to look for different things, even just at a surface level. Now more than a surface level, being co-president of the Political Science Student Association, has been one of my most fun but also fulfilling experiences at UBC.
Mhm.
Definitely in my undergrad, 100%. But yeah, I mean, you'll talk to people, they'll have ideas. I just heard from Noah that he's in a LinkedIn group where you can look for federal employment. And I'm like, okay, Noah, well, you're going to add me to that LinkedIn group after we're done today.
Like we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Ooh,
But this is what I mean. Like, even just having this conversation, I've learned things. The Career Center.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
So that's
It's kinda like for
that's the only advice I can give. Getting involved is again, some people don't want to get involved. They want to do the degree and leave. And if you're trying to go to law school or grad school, that makes sense. You can focus on grades. You can do whatever you want. Otherwise, I get that. That's something great as well. But if you're listening to this podcast, you probably want to get a bit more than that.
Yeah.
So
And actually
Absolutely.
getting involved too, like especially in like club settings, for example, you don't need to be an executive. Like I know all of us here are executives of a club, but like you don't need to be an executive to get involved, especially in lower levels. Not lower level people. If you're in a lower grade, that's what I'm trying to say, guys. Like even in 1st and 2nd year, like clubs host so many different events that are open for people that are like not executives of the club, just people that are like members of the club or interested in like the club. Like you are free to join. There may be like you might have to pay a price.
no,
But
AMS clubs do require like prices for memberships. Usually,
yeah.
obviously the PSSA is different because all political science students are technically our members.
Yeah.
But in that way, it also does kind of force you to be a little more involved
Yeah.
if you're paying for a
Mhm.
fee for the membership.
Mhm.
Like also because of that, there are events that tend to be free. Sometimes they do charge just extra, but either way, I think it's worth it. Like I know all of us are broke, but I do think it's worth going to these different events and just like connecting with people. Like literally these 3 people are like in these clubs. They would probably attend some of these events. You can go to them. You could be like, what are you doing? Like, what can I learn about? Like, I want to do this. Like, can you tell me a little bit more about that? And like, it's such an easy way of just like connecting with different people. And you could ask Noah for his LinkedIn. You'd be like, Noah, what's your LinkedIn? Like,
I'm about to shout it out at the end.
Good room.
Stay to the end. Yeah.
I will leave it at that.
Bree, what's your Canvas account? What's your
Canvas account. Yeah, I echo everything that Grace has said.
That's Grace.
And Kaden, you're so needy. Oh my goodness.
Joke.
It's just a joke.
Especially Kaden. Okay. Yeah, I would
Yeah,
say
but what about me? I guess I haven't spoken yet, so yeah.
And whatever
Sorry,
Noah's gonna say,
No, it's your floor. It's your floor. Yeah.
yeah,
he's stealing your storm right now.
he is.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I was just gonna say to be, as much as we want you to get involved and to have as many experiences as you can, even if they're not something that is completely relevant to your discipline, make sure that's something that you're passionate about, not something that you're just trying to do it. Every single opportunity I've done has been something that I really am passionate about or in love, and sometimes I don't have the time to do it. But you sort of are motivated by a greater purpose, and you want to be really intentional with the time you have here. Like 4 years, 5 years sounds really long, but it's really not. And you want to make sure that you, yes, walk out of UBC with a really stacked resume and a really awesome transcript, but also with like a feel good sort of perspective and memories with everything that you did. And I think that comes from being really intentional and careful about what you put your time and energy into. So do your research and make sure you're not just joining clubs just to join it, especially if it's paid. That's crazy.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah. It's going to find some amazing things that we
incorporate 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, I have two practical pieces of advice.
Okay.
The first one for everybody watching this right now, go on to UBC Library.
Yeah.
Go to Get Research Help. Go to Research Guides. Go to Arts and Humanities, Political Studies.
Slow down.
Come on, Kate. Let's go.
It's okay. They can replay. They can replay.
And you'll be presented with this like absolutely wonderful, very, very not well known database that the UBC Library has created for political science. It's got a list of databases that you can work with for anything that you're doing. International law. They've got stuff on like genocide there. They've got stuff on Canadian federalism. They have Indigenous studies, specifically with like political science and federalism, right? And I think this is like one of the most helpful resources for students, especially if you're like, I don't know how to conduct research, how to look for these things. Like, I don't know what JSTOR is, like I'm just going to type in keywords into UBC Library and see what happens. This is actually an amazing resource that UBC Library has put together. So check that out. The second thing is download Zotero immediately.
This changed my life 24 hours ago, and I haven't been the same.
24 hours ago?
I learned about it 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
I'm a little...
Well, that's okay.
You changed woman now.
I've heard great things. I use it from time to time.
Please, it's so good. Download Zotero, use Zotero. It's like the citation formatter, like database on your computer, and it's so helpful. Get rid of Citation Machine. Don't deal with that. Those are my two practical pieces of advice. And then my last one that kind of like hits home for me is like, don't be afraid to change your plans or change everything. I came in on like a 4-year degree track. I was like, I'm going to do 4 years and I'm going to graduate and then I'm going to be done. And I hit year 4 last year. And, I realized like, I don't feel like I've, done enough or like had enough experience. And, it sounds like silly, but that was something that I had to reckon with, was that I was kind of like changing my track and changing, like I was going to spend another extra year at UBC. And, for me, that felt like somewhat of a failure, but it wasn't, because I ended up doing all these like amazing opportunities and like getting to put more stuff in my resume. So it was like, and finding out interests that I didn't know I had.
And hanging out with me.
And hanging out with Reed. So 100%, like if like, do not just complete something for the sake of completing it, or being like, I've committed to this, so now I have to like see it through when you're like really like not having a good time, or you want to try something else. Like, just be flexible is what I'm trying to say. And then I also wanted to share a story as well, and you can cut this out if you want to cut this out. But this is a story about my mom, and I think this is something that I think about like all the time. Like whenever I'm thinking like, wait, I haven't done enough. Should I restart?
We have this thing where if you swear, we're gonna cut it out with either Leah or I going meow. So you're all good.
Okay. All right. So I can say
I can't believe you're the one who swore.
Right?
You can say it.
I can't believe he's the one that swore.
Wait, say it. Meow.
Wow. That's incredible. The way Leah just does it immediately, she knows what I'm about to say.
Meow.
Wow. How is she on this? Okay.
Oh my God, Noah. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going. I'm ready to listen.
So this is something that has inspired me like throughout my entire UBC career, basically. And that's that, my mom, she did her undergrad and she graduated, with a major in history, Bachelor of Arts, and she was in a pre-law track. And she was like absolutely certain she wanted to work in advocacy and NGO groups. And then, she was hella broke, as all students are, and she was working at a like wildlife shelter, like a Greyhound Rescue Association. And while she was working there, she kind of like discovered this passion she had for animals. And even though she was on this pre-law track and she was like so sure she wanted to go into like legal studies and things like that, she realized this passion she had. And she was like, you know what, I'm going to do something different. So she went to night school, she started studying other things, and she started studying to become a vet. And she totally like changed her track entirely. She went from pre-law, Bachelor of Arts, to becoming a veterinarian, and doing extra schoolwork to get there. And that was, like late in her 20s, she's working through this and just completely changed it and put in the work. And it took years. But now she's in like the most fulfilling job. Like she loves her work. She loves animals. And like, my parents inspire me so much because they're so passionate about what they do. And she really like switched everything for her passions, and it's like, whenever I feel like, like I haven't done enough, I need to get like my act together, and figure out what I want to do. I think about that. And I think about how it's just never too late. There's always opportunities to turn things around. We're all so young in this room, and if you're watching this, you're younger than us.
Younger than us.
Younger.
And it's like really like this is the moment where you can change your direction and figure out what you want to do. And if that means poli sci, then that means poli sci. But if it means something else, it means something else. And that's totally just like
that's okay.
Something that's okay.
That's okay.
Awesome.
And you have the most amount. You're never going to be this young again, and this is the time to make the mistakes or changes. And they're not really mistakes because they're leading you to what your like end goal is. And if you're listening to this podcast and you're feeling extremely overwhelmed with everything that we've said and a million opportunities or plugs that we've sort of given, that's okay. Have so much more experience over you, like in terms of years, and you have so much time to like build your resume, build connections, figure out what you want to do, make that change. And don't compare yourself to others. I know it's hard, but you have to sort of do what you want to do in that moment, and that's okay if someone else is like doing something similar but on a different level, or vice versa. So try to
Lock in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't have one.
We'll
Yeah,
do that later.
you've been
We'll give you one
excluded.
later.
Um,
So good, guys.
Yeah.
Your turn soon. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. So now that we've heard a little bit about what you guys do, how you guys got there, and I guess we did hear a bit about your guys' future plans as well, but we're not going to go into detail because that's your private personal lives. And yeah, so now that we're done with the interesting, helpful section, we're going to go into something that's a little bit more exciting in the sense that I'm going to get a little hot. So we are going to be doing a political hot take segment. Are you guys okay with that? You chill? You guys better be because you heard this last week.
I'm fine, actually. I'm not chill.
Okay, Noah. Stepping me up like that. Okay. So we're going to be doing some political hot takes, but there's a little bit of a twist. These were submitted by political science students or prospective political science students. Who's making a lot of noise back there?
RPD marketing.
Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. Anyway. Did you see that? If you just you guys.
I what? What did I do?
I said that in Korean. Like when you go like. Anyway, okay. We'll talk about this later. We'll talk about this later. Where was I backtracking? We're gonna do some political hot takes, but this is gonna be a little special because you guys are here about careers that are not pre-law or law-based. We're gonna do some hot takes regarding just political science as a degree.
Ooh.
Okay. Ooh, we did get some. We got quite a few in. I posted it yesterday, and we got quite a lot of people actually submitted. Some of them were not degree based, so unfortunately we're gonna have to skip some of them. We don't have the time to go through all of them, but if yours was not spoken it, we don't have anything against you. We don't even know who you are. These are all anonymous. Awesome. Lots of love. Peace and love, guys. Peace and love. Okay, first one. So this first one about the degree is that there should be more required theory components to the degree at UBC. You guys don't have to say agree or disagree. You don't need to explicitly state that. You can just kind of just like ponder on or just give us your reactions. Like,
In the honors program, there is a required theory component. You have to take a third-year theory course. I believe you used to have to take 2, but there was some years where they didn't have a 2-year or 2 theory courses to offer. So that was reduced to 1. I know I took Indigenous Political Theory with Professor Wayne Wapimukwa. A common one is 341A as well, which is taught by a variety of professors. But yeah, 'cause I mean, I know that I had to take one and I didn't mind it, especially kind of grounded by comparative politics, with some theory as well that I wouldn't have, I might otherwise not take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting take because I think it depends on what the theory is that we're adding here.
Yeah.
Because I think we've already got quite the oversaturation of like Lockean,
I know
you
what
know,
to say.
Lockean
I
Holmes.
actually was going to say kind of similar to what you're saying. I think there should be more theory that's like not necessarily Western based. I feel like it'd be nice to see a lot of like right now I can only think of like Asian theorists, but just like in general, maybe more like worldwide, global.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
would
keep going.
100% agree with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, on that sense, totally. More in the sense of like conventional political theory, like I'm not too sure. I do think there should be more, and this is going to be controversial. I think there should be more emphasis on quant in political science. Actually, I think it forms such a massive part of the academic world. Like in terms of political sciences, political scientists conducting quantitative evaluation. I feel like 380 doesn't do enough.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be more required on that.
380 is a very
Should go-
important course.
It is a very important course, and I think that it should be expanded. And I think we can do it as political science students. I truly believe it. Yeah, I think we should do
I'm surprised that IR doesn't have 380 required.
Yeah.
I have,
That is
very surprising.
I have spoken to IR students who have said to me in their fourth year Poli seminars that they're like, I wish I took 380 in my third year. Like, I wish it was a required thing because they're with these professors where that a lot of that foundation, some of the time, not always, but it's expected in certain seminars that they have some kind of quant basis and kind of can understand these models, these papers. But then the IR students that maybe didn't take 380 are left at the back burner of that when the Poli students had at least some background in 380. So I can't underscore the importance of it enough as well.
for sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. We're gonna move on to our next. I think I want to say just like maybe 2 or 3 more. These ones you don't have to go in depth as we did with this one. I think that was a pretty interesting take. These ones you can just give me like a
Reaction.
or a
Okay.
I'll be an
like.
emoji.
Wait, can you guys do that as soon as I finish? Give me like your first like reaction, like physically. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. This one is a little long. So Poli Sci is the study of political science, but not of politics. We learn to be detached academic observers of politics, yet have no emphasis on practical political skills. Where's the emphasis on organizing, campaign strategy, or advocacy classes? Do we even consider that to be Poli Sci?
I think that's just not Poli Sci. Like, I completely agree. I think it's very important side of politics and everyday life and being politically active. And there's definitely some courses that overlap into that, but the question itself does kind of outline the difference between political science and politics and advocacy and organizing, which are essential like aspects of civil society engagement in political life and in just life in general. But it's not necessarily the major.
No, not the major at all. I worked a lot in advocacy work and sort of that realm of things way before I decided to do throughout high school and before I started to do Poli Sci, because I thought those things would overlap. And then I ended up learning so much more because if you think about campaigning and sort of that level of policy, like work, constituency work, I wouldn't even put that under, but that is something that is very intuitive and is very like community-based organizing work. And I've learned more about that in my social justice classes or social movement classes than anything.
For sure.
Which is,
Of course.
it's really outside of the political science discipline, which I actually enjoy giving more room to other things.
Yeah. Like, I took a course on Latin American revolutions, and it was kind of more around that political organizing and some instances, like, I wasn't in political science, it was in the romance studies field.
In some instances, they're completely different things, really. They just have the word politics on it because there is a civil society component to that level of organizing, but 2 different things, I think.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything, Noah?
Yeah, you guys said it all.
Your reaction was the most animated.
My reaction.
Brio was just like, and then I think Keaton was like, this, and you
I
were like,
Because, guys, I'm sitting at my family dinner, I'm eating Thanksgiving dinner or whatever, and my aunt or someone comes up to me and they're like, so how do you think this person's working in the election? I'm like, you know.
Thing is, I'll also answer that though. That's because that's my interest. Like, you know,
yes,
like, that's like
that's true.
very interested in,
Like,
outside of political science.
It doesn't work. I think they think I sit at my lectures all day watching Fox News and analyzing every little
That's just my
thing
free
that's
time.
going. That, like, of course, I'll whip my phone out right now, and it's like the first thing that's on Instagram, and I'm doing my little comments. But it's not something that I dedicate critical learning time to in part of like my curriculum at UBC, which is what I think the misconception is, or the sort of answer that they expect me to give. And I'm like, well, I have an informed opinion based off of what I've learned in all my free time, but I don't know why they're saying that on Fox News. I'm sorry.
I think my reaction was like that because I heard the campaign strategy bit, and that was really interesting to me because I took a like Poli 333, which was like political psychology, which is a divisive class. But I liked it because I thought it was like an interesting thing that I had not like thought about. It was like political strategy or political psychology and campaign strategy. So I think like in that sense,
that sounds so cool.
Yeah,
I think
right?
you really like that, Kaden.
Yeah, I wish I took that.
In that sense,
I really do like that.
Like understanding more about the psychology of political leaders and specifically like we see the face of the political leaders, but there's the speechwriters, there's the people behind that platform that are like doing that organizing component. When I was looking for grad schools, I saw grad program at Carleton that was specifically focused on that. It was focused on like party policy, like a master's in party policy or something like that, or party administration for Canadian political parties. So that's really interesting that there is this field out here for like political party management. And that is something that I find interesting about that question. But I totally agree that like the advocacy component maybe is more outside of the classroom, more of like a personal, like professional thing that maybe comes more naturally.
Yeah.
But that bit about like political parties like in Canada is interesting. And I don't know what our course situation looks like. So
Actually, speaking of courses, shout out, I'm pretty sure the Poli Sci department added like 3 new courses for the next year. So
like 3 new streams almost.
yeah. And also they added like a new major or something.
There's a few things.
Yeah. Check that out if you guys are first or second year.
That one makes piracy problems, it say.
it does.
Is that the policy administration?
Yeah, it was a
one?
policy administration one. Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, kind of too late for us, but
That I'm graduating.
Better out.
it's too late for me.
They're also planning on adding a bunch more in the following years as well. So even if you don't see something that piques your interest right now, you can always apply in your later.
Unless you're listening and you're graduating.
Yeah.
Hey,
Is there any?
yes, I was thinking of just doing 2 more. One a little bit more serious and one a little bit more fun.
Okay.
Actually, maybe this is not too serious. It's a little bit of both. Okay, so the hot take is why are the majority of the students why are the majority of the students in Poli Sci on a pre-law track when law/legal field should not be a politicized subject matter?
Oh,
Great question.
that's a really great question. It's not that, I would say that it's not that law is Poli Sci students who go into law are trying to politicize it. I think that it offers a set of critical problem-solving skills that allows you to more readily engage in the content and structure of which law school is presented as. But because it's not necessary, you don't need an undergraduate political science undergraduate degree, it does offer you that room for any major to take the LSATs and to sort of go into it, which is a great aspect of law school, because your class and your students and the people that you're surrounded by aren't necessarily having this one background, but you guys can sort of take that away.
I mean, I don't even know if political science as an undergrad degree is politicized.
I think we just talked about that.
Yeah. So I don't even know. I think it's kind of like the
Misconception.
I don't know. Like I'm
It's
thinking public administration, international peacekeeping, security studies.
A lot of our jobs, we're taught to see both sides. So it's sort of this normative, like, stream of learning where we're taught to analyze rather than to choose an opinion and deeply saturate our sort of background in. So, although there are quite contentious debates and strong opinions that exist within the discipline, most of us are learning how to learn and learning how to unpack really complex situations and policies.
Yeah.
Political science is like the second biggest arts major. I think psychology is probably the biggest arts faculty of arts
the
major.
second biggest.
Sorry?
I didn't know that.
I think it's the second biggest from my understanding. So a lot of pre-law students want to do some arts. We do a lot of reading. You need a lot of reading in law school. I think it kind of fits in now. I think a lot of political science students are in political science because they don't know necessarily what they want to do after. People say law. It's not necessarily that a lot of those political science students will actually do law. A lot of it's just like they say that they're pre-law is what I've noticed a lot. A lot do, but and if you look at top LSAT scores, it's not political science. I think philosophy is one of the top. I think more like hard science and computer science is one of the highest. Engineering is one of the highest for LSAT score getters. At least this was a few years ago when I was looking at the data.
No, it's very skewed towards other disciplines completely. Maybe we're walking in a little bit too overconfident, but it's very much made because or accessible for anyone who's taken any sort of undergraduate background.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reality of it.
I was like, it's just like, it's gotten so common to the point that like, if you want to go to law, poli sci is like the right answer. Like, it's just become such a common trend. So, another thing is, I feel like everything's political. Like, there's that saying, that professors say. Like, I remember first year when I did like 100 course for the very first time, I didn't even know if I wanted to do politics at this point or like political science. Like, my 100 level prof is just like, you may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in everything and you. And I was like, wow. Eye-opener.
That's such a... I'm gonna get that tattoo. Actually.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That sounds like something you...
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like, unfortunately, that's just the reality is that everything is politicized to a certain extent, like whether or not we want it to be. Okay. I just wanted to do... I think this is just for poops and giggles.
Poops. That's fun.
If you just said like
If you
the other
just
word,
said
it
it.
could have been attached.
Poops and giggles.
I don't know. Do you censor poop? Because I don't think you censor poop, right? So you just
said that.
so
Guys, I'm just here for humor.
Yeah.
I'm here to segue and just here for humor. Because like, what advice have I given so far? Listen to them. That's my only advice, guys. Don't come
Poops
to me.
and
I'm
giggles.
not
Yeah.
Stop saying that.
sorry, it's and giggles. That way it's censored, right?
Yeah.
Meows and giggles.
Mouths and giggles.
Guys, I'm the only one who hasn't sworn on this podcast.
I
sworn?
did. Oh, I did. I just did.
Oh, I sworn?
Yeah, when you corrected her. What she was going to say.
Oh, that's...
There's a lot of cat noises right in the last 10
I know, I did it there. My mistake, yes.
Leah's going to be working overtime.
Working overtime, meow.
It's AG
Oh.
overtime.
Oh, sorry.
Leah just has to meow. That's a whole...
Just once. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm going to choose this last one. This one's really interesting because it's kind of, I think it's kind of counteract to what Noah said about quantitative classes, but someone said that wish we had a qualitative class.
It goes hand in hand. And
I was like...
does Poli 110 not cover that? I didn't take it because I was at SFU.
Is it 110 just... Yeah, it's just basic
No.
research methods, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we do so much qualitative stuff. Like that's the entire degree. The entire degree is like
Okay.
looking at
But I do wish I kind of went over the research methods a bit more. I took it in my first year of political science at SFU with Dr. Stuart Prest when he was at SFU
Okay.
as well. Because SFU has a specific qualitative research methods course.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good thing to have in the upper years if they were gonna have like another course for methods.
Mm-hmm.
I know that in the honors program, they do kind of go over research method as well in that thesis section in that last kind of final year.
Yeah.
But that's so you can actually do the research and not so you can write term papers and other courses.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm biased. I'm in the model certificate, so I've also had a lot of this like saturation recently about like how to conduct research and research methodology.
Mhm.
So maybe I'm also a little bit biased here, but
I would say that as someone who's more so in the probably will go into like academic research and writing sort of stream or field, I would benefit more from a qualitative methods class. I also did really like 380 and I do a lot of data work as well, but more qualitative, like a specific course might be cool. Or a module of a course.
it's like a more like upper year one that's not like here's how we do research.
Exactly.
At a basic
At a very basic level, I didn't like
well, I'm
10.
this-
Sorry. So
I did like 110 or 380. I don't know how I got through those classes.
oh, it's okay. I mean, a lot of it you can just look up
Yeah.
if you are still confused about it.
that 380 guy, Kaden?
Yeah.
Stayed at 380.
Stayed at 380. Andrew Owen?
Stayed at
I
2.
just stayed at 380. Yeah.
Andrew Owen?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were in the same class.
Yeah, we must have been in math. Yeah.
Dying breed.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
That's
Rosie High. Yeah.
I can't farm all the way. Our script. Sorry. Plugging in. There's too much.
It's okay.
Okay, awesome. So that is all of our hot takes. I'll let you guys know the rest later. I think they were pretty interesting.
Oh.
There were some interesting non-degree based ones, so I couldn't talk about them, but if you guys are interested later, I'll let you know. Awesome. So far today, we've talked about just opportunities from our three guests, about what you can do, what are some new things that you've done, maybe unknown to other people, resources that are available. I know Noah went on like an entire spiel about all these different resources, and I definitely think if you're interested, you should like slow it down and like listen and like actually do the steps that he's telling you to do. A lot of these are from UBC, so you can probably find them if you just like to UBC, and you should probably be able to find them. Some upper year advice. I know you guys gave some pretty good ones, and I also just think generally these would also be helpful for a lot of other upper years, like third years, fourth years, who are maybe going to do a fifth year. Like I think this would be really helpful as well. So we just talked about a bunch of information, no law, bunch of information. So yeah, so thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Today, Grace. Especially me as a recurring guest. I really appreciate you inviting me back on. Yeah.
I love seeing you every single episode. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We love
But-
being here. Maybe we'll be invited back.
Hopefully, I would love to invite you guys back. Let's do this. I would love to have you guys back on.
Balance
Even
out.
from like, yeah.
His energy.
Anyway, yes. So today, that's all that we're going to be talking about.
Grace, do we have anything for next month, right?
With next month's episode, we are going to be taking a little bit back, similar to our first episode about American politics. We're going to be talking a little bit about Canadian politics, because what are we? American? No, we are Canadian. So we're going to be talking about some Canadian politics in our next episode called Canadian Ketchup, where we eat ketchup chips because that's Canadian, and we talk about the Canadian state. Sounds good? Well, you guys, do you guys want?
I want the ketchup chips. Yeah.
I'll make sure to bring some episodes to do. Yes, we're going to talk about a lot of Canadian politics that is upcoming and ongoing. By then, the Liberal leadership will be finished. There will be a new Prime Minister at that time, and we will be likely on the brink of a Canadian election.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys comment on our YouTube. If you can comment on Spotify, comment there too. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube channel. Make sure you're following our Spotify channel. Make sure you're following our Instagram and TikTok. If you're not, that's kind of weird. And we will catch you guys next time for our next mental breakdown with the PSSA.
Yeah.
mental breakdown.